Kira from KiraWilliamsFitness.com, and the big topic of today is going to be fatigue and helping you get through life without always feeling like you need to lay down or like you just can't, have no motivation. You just feel tired all the time. Because when you feel tired all the time, you're not going to be in a good mood. You're not going to show up as your best self. You're not going to be a great mom, wife, girlfriend, employee. Just not a great friend, not a great friend to yourself. So we need to talk about the things that you can do, because there's a lot of things that you have within your control that's going to help you have more energy. And guess what, guys? A lot of this comes down to your metabolism. When you are chronically under eating and you are just burying yourself in stress, physical and mental, of course you're not going to have energy. And then when you don't have energy, you're not going to make good eating decisions. You're not going to go to the gym. You're not going to, and if you do go to the gym, what do you have to give there? So we want to turn this all around. And I know you follow me because you want to lose fat, you want to build muscle, you want to feel good in your skin, and having energy is a really big piece of that. So let's talk about five of the key players here that you can do nutritionally, so that way you have more energy and you are supporting your metabolism. All right, so let's get into it. This first one is blood sugar regulation. First of all, if you're not eating, then you don't have energy, because calories are energy. And if you are not eating, then yes, you're not going to have energy. But it's not just that, it's also blood sugar. So if you go hours and hours without food, like if you wake up and you don't eat breakfast, or if you eat breakfast and then you get to work and like everything goes crazy haywire and you forget to eat lunch, or you eat lunch and then you skip your snack and you drive home and you get to your kitchen and you're famished. So you've gone too long without eating, and this can make your blood sugar levels go way down. Well, that's not great, because then you don't have energy. But what also happens then is, because you've got low blood sugar, you're going to start getting cravings. And yes, of course, like sugar cravings, like, you know, sweets, candy, like things that are really simple and like easy, like grabbable and just stick in your mouth, and like boom, you get elevated blood sugar. But like anything that's just really simple, I mean, to like sit down with like a bowl of spaghetti squash and ground beef and tomato sauce, like that's a complete meal, right? But that isn't fast. And so not only is it not fast to make, but it's not fast digesting. So your body isn't going to crave like necessarily those nourishing foods. It's just going to be like, give me some chips, give me some crackers, give me that cookie that I have cookies right now sitting on my kitchen counter, because I love desserts and I always have them, but I just keep them in moderation. But I always make sure I eat real food. But your body is going to want that quick grab little thing. And so what's that going to do? It's like quick in. So your body's going to respond really fast with blood sugar. It's going to come up, and then guess what it's going to do? It's going to crash, because we're not eating an adequate amount of protein, fat, and fiber. So when we get that crash, then we get that like I can't keep my eyes open. I can't keep my head up, and you don't feel good. So we want to make sure that we're eating, like, you don't have to be on this perfect schedule of eating every 2 to 3 hours. That doesn't always work for everybody. It's not always the best for everybody physically, but it also doesn't work for everybody in the design of their day. But we don't want to go like hours and hours and hours without eating, especially if you're getting the clues from your body that tell you, like if you skip your afternoon snack and you come home and you go into your kitchen and you just grab chips, then that's a sign that you should be eating a little something before you leave work to come home. Or if you go through your day crazy at work and you have like insane anxiety, and then, oh my gosh, like it's afternoon and you haven't eaten anything since breakfast, and you're like, well, just, like I'm gonna run down to CVS and grab like snack mix, then that's a clue that you are not feeding your body in an adequate way. And you need to take the time to give your body the nourishment that it deserves through healthy foods that are well balanced with plenty of protein. Make sure that you think about like, okay, what are my protein sources? Cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, eggs, chicken, fish. Okay, I'm gonna pull something from that category. Now I'm gonna make sure that I get some fat. All right, am I eating a fattier meat? Okay, cool, check that box. Okay, let me add in some like olive oil dressing, or let me add in some avocado, or let me sprinkle some nuts on this yogurt. Now you're getting your fat. And now we wanna look at carbs, and carbs are going to include fiber, so we want to make sure that we get some fiber in there. And it's like, okay, let me throw some, I'm gonna make a salad. Now I've got my leafy greens, and I'm gonna throw some sweet potato on there. Cool. Or, if you are having like a little snacky snack, do some sliced up red pepper slices and some hummus. So we want to make sure that we're getting something from each category: protein, fat, carbs that include fiber. And then just making sure that so that way we get our balanced blood sugar. We're not getting the peaks and drops. Things are balanced. And that's also going to be really helpful for your nervous system. We're going to get in a little bit more about nervous system here in a moment. But if you've ever gone too long without eating and you feel shaky or you have anxiety, that's your nervous system. So your blood sugar levels do play a role in your nervous system. So nervous system, I want you to think about two sides of it. We've got fight or flight, and we've got rest and digest. So we've got sympathetic, fight or flight, parasympathetic, rest and digest. And when we're constantly in survival mode, then we are constantly in a sympathetic state, and that is going to wear you out. Like, think about when you've had like a major event coming up and you're like just scrambling to get everything done, and then the event happens and it's done, you just feel like you could sleep for ages because you've been in sympathetic mode for that period of time, and you have worn yourself out. So by having these blood sugar spikes and drops, you are putting your nervous system into sympathetic dominance, and you are going to wear out your nervous system. That's going to leave you absolutely fatigued and shot. You're not gonna have bandwidth. You're not gonna feel good. You're not gonna make good choices. That is not the mode that you want to live in. Next up, let's talk about hormone imbalance. So hormone imbalance can absolutely lend itself to massive fatigue, but we're really gonna focus on two. Let's talk about cortisol. So I know you've heard of it. Cortisol is, it's a catabolic steroid. It's a catabolic hormone. So we've got anabolic and catabolic. Anabolic adds, catabolic takes away. It is created by the body. In a healthy body, you'll have cortisol levels that if you don't wake up to an alarm, your cortisol is going to wake you up. So you get elevated cortisol in the morning, and then as you go throughout your day, it decreases and decreases. And when you are living in a state where your cortisol levels are not functioning the way that they are supposed to be functioning, you're going to have elevated cortisol in the evening, and that's going to leave you that wired but tired feeling where you're laying in bed and you're like, I'm so tired, but like I can't sleep. So that is going to be one of your very first signs of imbalanced, dysfunctional cortisol. when you rely, but cortisol is good, like if you like, whenever you do like sprints or something, if you do like a 15-minute like interval workout, that's releasing cortisol in your body. That's why we don't want to really do it at night, but you do it like a little bit earlier in the day, and that helps your body lose fat. Cortisol is catabolic. But the problem is that when we rely on cortisol for extended periods of time, it can create HPA axis dysfunction. So HPA axis is the hypothalamic pituitary axis, and this is part of the brain, and the nervous system and the thyroid gets involved. So chronic HPA stress can actually start to wear down your thyroid, and then we start getting into Hashimoto's and autoimmune conditions. There's a lot of talk, and I truly believe this, but I do believe that the reason that autoimmune conditions are becoming more and more prevalent, particularly in women, is because of stress. So we're talking about like some serious health issues when we are chronically relying on cortisol to get us by. And not just like mental and emotional stress, but physical stress. Chronic undereating is a stressor. It is a stressor on the body, because the body is sitting here going like, when are you going to feed me? Am I going to die? Literally the brain like thinks it's going to die, and the brain does everything that it can do to keep us alive. And so the brain thinks that we're going to die. So it holds onto our body fat when we're just like, please stop. But chronic undereating, not only does it suppress the metabolism, because your body is smart and it will learn how to live on what you give it, but it is a stressor on the body, and it pulls on that cortisol. Running on cortisol chronically can then take you much further down the path of serious health issues. And not only is undereating a stressor on the body, but also blood sugar dysregulation. The highs and the high highs and the low lows is very stressful on the body as well. So those big stressors are it wreaks havoc on cortisol and thyroid. Going back to nervous system, like I said, we were going to talk more about the nervous system. When your body feels unsafe, you are living in that sympathetic dominance. It keeps you in that fight or flight mode. Your body, like literally, so our brains just know how to keep us alive. Yes, our brains do much more than that, but like at the root of it, our brains are here to keep us going. And so when we have a stressor, like our brain thinks that we need to like run away from danger, or like we have to like run away from like this tiger that's chasing us. Or we need to get prepared because we've got to go like run down our dinner, and back when we're like hunters and gatherers. And so it releases adrenaline and it releases cortisol, and that's what it's supposed to do. That is good. But again, just like living in that state of sympathetic dominance is a stressor. So relying on cortisol, doing that chronically, everything that I just talked about. All of this stuff is related. And it's great because it's a snowball effect, and it's not great. It's because it's a snowball effect in a negative way, but it's great because it's a snowball effect in a positive way too, because you can just change like one or two little things, and that makes everything will start to get a little bit easier. So we'll talk about the fixes here in a moment. I want to wrap up with our last two things that are big stressors for your metabolism and keeping you in fat storage mode, and keeping you tired all the time. Nutrient deficiency. So this is a really big one. If you don't eat very much, like if you eat 1,200 calories a day, then you only have 1,200 opportunities to get nutrients. So we're talking about micronutrients here. We're talking about like minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, phytonutrients, etc. And those are truly like the body's energizers. So we've got calories, and you've heard the term empty calories. Empty calories really is just like, it's a calorie, but like it doesn't really have any like nutrient density. Nutrient density is how many nutrients we can get in 1 calorie. And so if you're eating like, I don't know, like Ritz crackers, then you might get some like vitamin A or something. I don't really know. I don't buy Ritz crackers, but if you eat an apple, you know, you're definitely getting vitamin A, you're getting vitamin C, you're getting fiber, you're getting I don't remember. Like look up Google like what's in an apple. And you're getting different minerals as well. You eat kale and you're getting magnesium, and you're getting calcium, and you're getting fiber, and you're getting vitamin A, and you're getting vitamin C, and et cetera, et cetera. And so when we have nutrient deficient food, like junk food or not enough food, period, 1,200 calories a day, you're not really giving yourself many opportunities to get those micronutrients in your diet. And our body relies on those micronutrients to do all of its functions. Like literally we associate carrots with eyes because carrots are full of vitamin A, and vitamin A is really, really good for vision. And it's like that for if you look up like all the different micronutrients, they all have different uses in the body. And so our body literally relies on these things. And so when we're only eating 1,200 calories a day, and we really need to be eating like 2,000 calories a day, because that's how many calories we burn being alive and doing all of our activities, then we're in such a significant deficit, and we're missing out on so many of those micronutrients. And those are the things that we need to like support our hormones, to support our cells, to support our metabolism, to support our immune system, to support healthy skin, to support the healthy reproductive system. Like all of these things rely on the micronutrients that we get from our food. And when we don't eat enough food, then we're not getting those things. So of course we're going to be tired. We just start powering down, and that's fatigue. So we want to make sure that, if we are in a deficit, it's not super high for a really long time. But then we also want to make sure that if we are in a deficit, that the calories that we do get are really rich in micronutrients, and they're very nutrient dense. It's like a budget. If you know you only make $5,000 a month, you've got to make sure that you get all of your bills paid. And then the rest, you can kind of like, go shopping. So think of it like, I've got to pay my bills. I've got to make sure that I get my A, D, E, K, all my B vitamins, all my calcium, all my magnesium, all my selenium, etc. We want to make sure we get all of those things. And the more we can get from food, the better. Like less supplementing, because that's a whole other issue for a whole other day. But we want to try and do food first. And then the last thing is poor sleep. Obviously, poor sleep is going to leave you feeling tired, but there are things that you can do. Even if like you only have time to sleep for 6 hours, there are certain things that you can do that will help your sleep be better. And there are certain things, like even if you do have the ability to sleep 8 or 9 hours a night, you might not get that because you are doing some of these things. So for example, if your body feels unsafe and you're in that sympathetic dominance and your nervous system can't relax, you're not going to get great sleep. You're like sleeping with one eye open, kind of. like, I mean, like literally though, because you think that you're going to get attacked in the middle of the night by a predator. So your body's like, I can't sleep. Blood sugar dysregulation. blood sugar can absolutely wake you up in the middle of the night. If you get a drop, guess what happens? Your cortisol and your adrenaline come in and they're like, hey, pancreas, liver, like release some stored blood sugar. But because it's cortisol and adrenaline that's getting released from your body, then what does that do? It wakes you up. It jolts you awake. So blood sugar dysregulation can absolutely have like a massive impact on your sleep. And then the other thing is your circadian rhythm. And so, you know how like earlier I was like, oh, well, early in the mornings, your body, a healthy body should like give you a little bit of like a blood sugar release, a cortisol release. Cool. And in the mornings, that's when your, oh my gosh, why did I just forget what it's called? Melatonin. That's another hormone. When your melatonin is actually going to be at the lowest. And so as you go throughout your day, your cortisol like slowly goes down, and your melatonin slowly goes up. So when you have cortisol dysregulation, then you're probably going to have melatonin dysregulation. So those things being jacked up are going to prevent you from getting good deep sleep too. And not getting a sleep, obviously you're going to be tired. So what are little things that we can do? Deep breathing exercises. Getting yourself into a parasympathetic state at least once a day. That might be like literally like stopping and taking 5 deep nasal inhales and then exhales through your mouth. Getting yourself to like kind of wind down. Going for a walk outside, not like a power walk, just like a leisure walk. Doing a little bit of meditation. After you eat, literally just like walking up and down the hall, just getting like, 400 or 500 steps, because it's going to help you digest your food and regulate your blood sugar. So therefore it's de-stressing. Setting boundaries. That's another really long conversation for another day, but that's going to help a lot with stress. So just doing the things that are going to get you into that more rest and digest state. If you can do that before a meal, bonus, because that's going to help with digestion and ultimately blood sugar. So parasympathetic practices are going to be a really, really, really big one. Next, going back to blood sugar regulation, making sure that you're getting a food from each one of those categories that I talked about earlier. And then setting yourself up for success with your sleep. Just making sure that you're giving yourself, even if you can't sleep the whole time, giving yourself the ability to sleep for 8 hours, and creating some good sleep hygiene practices and a good wind down routine. Those are going to be my 3 big recommendations. And I also have a really great podcast with a sleep coach from a couple years ago. So go back through my old podcast. I have 2, and those are going to be really helpful for those of you guys who struggle with your sleep. So I think that's it. If you have found this helpful, then like this if you're watching on YouTube, share it. If you are listening on a podcast, make sure that you subscribe, so that way I try and podcast about once a week. And so you'll get a little ding to let you know that I just posted a new podcast. And I look forward to connecting. If any of this stuff resonates with you, if you're struggling, please reach out to me, KiraWilliamsFitness.com. There's a contact form. That's the easiest, KiraWilliamsFitness.com. And I'd love to chat, and let's see if I can help you feel your very best. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye.